to The Dream, the Journey, and the Promise with me and Inda. Today, I want to talk to you about the power of our thoughts. You know, in my journey recently, I've been learning just how much our thoughts determine our outcomes. So, our thoughts become actions, right? So when we create thoughts, they eventually become actions. Our actions create habits. Our habits form our character, and our character determines our destiny. So that's how important our thoughts are. From a simple thought, it eventually leads to where we end up in life. And this is not just my words, even the Bible tells us in Romans 12:2 that we should not be conformed to this world, but we should be transformed by the renewing of our minds. That means that change will only come once we decide to renew our mind, renew our thinking, renew the way we process our emotions, right? And this is something that I've been learning and trying to be more aware of lately, right? So one day I decided, well, today I'm just going to try as much as I can to keep track of what I'm thinking. By the way, different studies show different amounts, but most studies show that the average human thinks between 6,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. Just imagine that number, 6,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And all these thoughts, many of which are random, um, just go through our minds chaotically through the day. And it shows that most of us repeat about 80% of the same thoughts from day to day to day, which explains why we have the same habits. We repeat the same things, like we'll wake up in the morning, um, grab your cup of coffee in your favorite mug, go sit down, watch a show, repeat the same actions every day. But this is because the thoughts that we've been thinking previously, we keep repeating from day to day. So I decided one day to just take inventory of what my thoughts were, right? So I woke up in the morning and I was conscious about what I was thinking. And I usually try to start my day with something positive, like just, affirmations, and tell myself, you know, um, some positive things, and um, also acknowledge what I'm grateful for. And so I did that. And then within the next 10 minutes, you wouldn't believe it, but I had so many random thoughts, like what I was going to eat for that day, something that had gone on at work the day prior. Just thought after thought after thought, and they were all just random thoughts that had nothing to do with my intention for the day that I had set, or nothing to do with me being, I guess, mindful of the moment. There were just thoughts that just kept coming into my mind randomly, and there was one after the other, you know, one after the next after the next. So anyway, after that, I thought, I wonder what would happen if I actually just was intentional about redirecting my thoughts and making them useful thoughts, like thoughts about what my intentions are, what my goals are, what I plan on accomplishing, just how much more my day would be successful, or my week, or my year, right? And so this is something that I have been consciously working on. And I don't know if you all have read As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, which is a great book. It's a really short read, but it's a great book, and it just tells you how our mind works. And in psychology, there is a thing called confirmation bias. So what that is our brain tries to show us more of the things that we think and believe. So as I'm thinking in my head, right, as I'm thinking the thoughts that are coming through my head, my brain will show me more of the same things just to prove me right. Isn't that crazy? So I have to be so conscious of what I'm thinking. But anyway, on this day, as I was going through my day, I started realizing what things I was thinking and things that I was saying to myself. And I noticed several times during that day, I said things to myself like, oh, that was dumb, or that was silly, that was not smart. It's like I would say something to someone, and then the thought would immediately come to me and be like, hey, that was dumb. And I started wondering, like, how often do I tell myself these thoughts? that are probably determining, not probably, but that are actually determining the outcomes I eventually see, right? It's like, and where did these thoughts come from? Like, where did I learn to tell myself that that was not so smart or that was dumb of me to do? And I started thinking back. I'm like, these are probably things that were ingrained in us from childhood. Either a teacher said something, or we did something that made us feel not so smart, or somebody that we loved and respected made a statement that we just internalized, and now we keep thinking this thought. And for most of us, it's in our subconscious. Like for me, I didn't even realize that those were the thoughts I was thinking. Because why would I think to myself after making a statement to somebody or saying something that that was dumb? What made me think that? And that began to trouble me. So I started being conscious about that. So anytime that thought would try to come, like normally it would just be a reflex, like say something, because I'm generally a shy person. So my interactions with people sometimes tend to be awkward, right? And so that's where that was coming from. It's like I would say something and then think in my head, oh, that wasn't a smart thing to say. I should have said something else. And I started trying to consciously change this. So now, when I find myself doing that, I quickly change that thought and say, no, that was a normal thing to say. I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm wise enough to say what I need to say. So that there was nothing dumb about that. That was just a natural response. And I've been trying to tell myself that more and more, and you won't believe the change that it has made, even in my confidence alone, in just simple communication with people. It's because it's not even so much what people think of us, but what we are thinking and telling ourselves internally that ends up coming out and being projected as such, right? And so it has just been so mind-boggling to me, and it's just not that one thing. It's several different things that we think in our heads, and we don't even realize when we are thinking it. It just comes in as a thought, and we don't think twice about it, because we've been thinking these same thoughts or these same thought patterns over and over again, not realizing that that's why we are getting the same sets of circumstances and the same results that we've been getting year after year, decade after decade, and it's not changing our lives, right? So, in order for us to transform our lives, we actually have to sit and be conscious of what we're thinking and what we're telling ourselves. So even now, as I say my affirmations in the morning, I try to be conscious of what I told myself, and then I repeat it to myself several times a day so that it can erase that old program that I had, which I've probably been telling myself this for years and years, not even realizing that I've been doing this. But I have to erase that old program that's been running in the background and replace it with something new so that I can see different results, right? And this is what I want to encourage you to do as well. Just take inventory of the thoughts that you're thinking. And then if you sit for a while and just think back, you'll be able to trace that thought back to maybe several years ago, or even you as a child, and someone made a comment or made something that hurt you, and so you internalize that, took that, and now that's the same thought you keep repeating over and over, and that produces the same outcomes that you've been getting. So I just want to encourage you. And there is this one quote. This is like one of my favorite quotes of all times. It's by Carter Woodson, and he wrote the book The Miseducation of the Negro. And I'm just going to read this quote to you because I love it so much. It's just so profound. It just has a lot to it. But this is what it says. It says, when you determine what a man shall think, you do not have to concern yourself with what he'll do. If you make a man feel that he's inferior, you do not have to compel him to accept an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you make a man believe that he's justly an outcast, you never have to order him to the back door, because he'll go without being told. And if there's not a back door, his very nature will demand one. Just imagine the weight of that. This is how, in the old days, I hate to bring this up, but this is how they had programmed the slaves. And they had just made them believe that they were less than. And once they internalized that and took that in, they they didn't have to worry about how they would perform. They already knew what they thought of themselves because they had been told this is the way to think about yourself. This is who you are. This is what you're capable of, so that they would never think different or never try to, um, I guess, challenge those thoughts that had been, I guess, ingrained into them, right? They never had to challenge that. And the people who were enslaving them didn't have to worry about what they were going to do, because once they programmed that thought in their mind, they automatically knew what they were going to act, how they were going to act. They didn't have to force them to work. I mean, this is what the slaves thought of themselves. It's just that, hey, I'm a slave. This is what I do. This is how I'm supposed to be treated. And that's how I'll train my children and my children's children, right? And this is so important for us because I realize that even when we go to the doctor, and they ask us about our health and the history of um, diseases in our families, and we tell them, and I always wondered why would that matter? But it really is because the same thoughts, the same things, and the same patterns that your parents had, that that's all they knew and were able to teach to you, will end up giving you the exact same results, which give you the same circumstances, the same lifestyle, and then you end up with the exact same things that they had. And it's not necessarily that that's what's in your DNA, but that's how you were taught to think. That's how you created your habits. That's the lifestyle that you created, and it determines the person that you ended up being, right? And so it's so important for us to break this old program that's been running in our minds, um, the old things that we've been telling ourselves day after day, week after week, month after month. You need to sit down and focus and actually reprogram your mind. Tell yourself, create new thoughts, create new thought patterns. And like I said, we have 6,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. You're not going to catch every one, but if we can focus and be intentional with certain ones that actually determine how we act around others, what habits we form, it would actually be life changing. Not we probably won't notice it in a day or a week, but uh, a few months down the road, a year down the road, 5 years down the road, your thoughts will definitely make a large enough difference that you'll be able to tell what the difference is. But anyway, this is my encouragement to you. Is like there's so much power in our thoughts, and this is something that I've been learning that now I'm getting to be so passionate about. It's like, don't waste your thoughts on random things that don't matter. And on that same note, guard your mind. Guard your mind. What is it that you're taking in that's gonna help program your thoughts? If you want the outcome to be positive, take in positive stuff so that your thoughts will be positive and you'll get positive outcomes. If you just let any kind of garbage, we're inundated with so much stuff in this day and age of social media is crazy, and the news, and everyone is trying to feed you with their theories and their entertainment. You have to guard your mind, guard what it is that you're going to allow to come in, so that you can control your thoughts, and that way you can control your outcome. So this is my encouragement to you. Your thoughts have so much weight on what your destiny ends up being. And like I said, this is from the Bible. You have to transform your life by renewing your mind. If you're just trying to change your habits, that's not the root cause. Most people try to change their habits and just end up reverting right back to the old habits they had. Why? Because they haven't changed what they're actually thinking before they can change their habits. So the way to be transformed is by renewing your mind. Be conscious of what you're letting in. Be conscious of what you're allowing to sit in your mind, the thoughts that you're allowing to come through day by day. Be conscious of those thoughts. Change the old thoughts that you didn't even realize you had. Change those to new ones that would actually determine what it is you want to accomplish going forward, and you'll see a huge difference. So I hope this encourages you. Just know that what you're thinking will end up determining your destiny. So there is so much power in your thoughts. I hope this blesses you today. Until next time, remember to love fully, forgive freely, and make each moment count. God bless.